So there is stand-up comedy in China. And is it hard to do stand-up in China? Or is it easy to do stand-up in China? Well, there are a lot of things that make it easier to do stand-up comedy in China. Yes, and there are also challenges as well. So let's go to the good news. Good news is it's easier. Okay, I'm not even saying easy. It's easier to do stand-up in China compared to London and New York. Okay, let me get to that. Okay, as a female stand-up comedy, safety is very important for us. Okay, I've read about Ali Wong's experience of, feeling scared to walk to her car in the car park after a late night show or staying in a cheap hotel when she's traveling, when she's not that famous. This wouldn't be an issue here because, first of all, it's super safe here. Yeah, it's very safe. I'm never worried about, let's say, going home and feeling dangerous. The city is so safe. You can cycle anytime at night. People walk their dogs at midnight. It's just very safe. You can get a taxi. You're not worried that something's gonna happen to you in the taxi. It's also Shanghai. It's very accessible. Yes, I once did 3 gigs on one night on a bicycle. It takes me 10 minutes to cycle to the next spot, and it's so flat, the city. Yeah, it's so flat. It's so connected, okay? All these areas, all these spots are connected. It's easy, it's accessible, and it's cheap. It's cheap. You can ride a bicycle free. You can ride a Hello Bike, which is public sharing bike, for 3 RMB, which is 1/3 of a pound, So it's so cheap, so accessible, so easy to travel to, and so safe. So as a female stand-up comedian, that's great news. Okay. I lived in London before. It's hard to do more than 1 gig in one night if you don't have a car, and it's hard to park in the center of the city as well. It's more expensive to take a taxi. It's impossible to take a taxi, especially when you're just doing open mics. You spend 20 pounds on a taxi. Okay, you don't even make that money. Yeah. So in terms of the cost of doing stand-up comedy, it's easier. And in terms of safety, it's easier. Logistically, it's very easy to get posters printed out, and you get merch on Taobao. It's just very convenient and easy, logistics-wise as well. Very good. Really appreciate that. And it's very nice to organize shows. It's easy to organize shows. You have WeChat, you form a group, the audience there, and they're always there. So you get a following on your phone, and it's easy to get word out. So in terms of that, it's easy. And also there are so many places that are welcoming comedy. There are art spaces, there are bars, there are restaurants, it's just very vibrant, very diverse. Okay, one drawback is that you cannot send out flyers on the street. Yeah, I have friends who travel to Thailand to do comedy. Like for open mic, you need to send out flyers for as comics. You get a crowd, then you get on stage. Yeah, here you cannot send out flyers because that's not allowed. Yeah, it's not allowed. You cannot just stand out on the street and send out flyers. So that's a little bit of drawback. And other challenges. Okay, people would think that not being able to talk about anything you want is the biggest challenge, and it stops comedy. That's like the opposite of comedy. Yeah, I think another reason people think there's no comedy here is because they think, oh, you cannot talk about much. Yeah, that's why there's no comedy. Actually, you can talk about a lot of things. Yeah, and in today's climate, no comedians can talk about anything they want in any place. Yeah, there's no woke culture here. There's no woke culture here, so you can still talk about a lot of things that people don't feel offended. And also, certain communities, when you talk about them, they feel seen, instead of feeling offended. You know what I'm saying? So that's very cool. I've lived in London. I've lived in Malaysia. I've traveled to Thailand. Everywhere I go, the comedians tell me there's certain things that you better not touch upon. When I travel to Thailand, I have friends who live there. I'm like, I want to get on a mic. They're like, don't talk about the king. Don't talk about the king. Yeah. All right. I'm like, I'm a visitor here. Yeah. Okay. I have my courtesy to ask what, uh, no, what's the taboo there. So, right. So then I don't talk about the king, and people will be like, oh, they feel offended. Like, yeah. I'm like, dude, just chill, right? Just because you can talk about the king, it doesn't mean you can make it funny, yeah? And also there, people don't like it when you talk about the king, then just don't talk about it. I think it takes some experience to actually adopt this mindset that, yeah, be respectful of the local culture, right? I lived in Malaysia before. When I moved there, I think I was a little bit ignorant about, certain customs there, I went there as a student, but I was already 28 years old. I was doing my master's there. So one day I went to the library. I was wearing a skirt, which is not knee length. Okay, it's not too short, but it's not down to the knees. And the security guards stopped me from entering. I got so offended. I'm like, what? This is my traditional clothes. Okay, how could you stop me? This is such a, so offensive, I sound like a Karen. Yeah, but after a while, like, this is their norm, they like, they have dress codes in these public places. Yeah, don't do that. Don't try to be a rebel. I'm like, back home, I can do this. Yeah, but you're here, be respectful. It's like visiting somebody's house, it's like shoes off or shoes on. Yeah, some people like to have their guests' shoes outside the house, then go inside barefoot, and don't just go in with your shoes. Don't be that annoying, So what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of things you can talk about. Of course, there are certain things you don't want to touch upon. Then leave that. Yeah, I can only make my personal life interesting and funny on stage. I've known comedians, watched comedians who've been there for 30 years. They only talk about their family members and they're funny. They're like, I don't want to touch on politics. That's not my thing. I cannot make that funny. Yeah, okay, then, all right. Me, I can only make my personal life interesting and funny. And people feel related. The most rewarding thing is after a show that somebody comes to you, oh, you're so funny, and I feel inspired, That's the best reward ever. Yeah, so long story short, everywhere, if you do stand up, it is a hard way. It is a hard way to pursue, especially you have goals, and here, yes, there are challenges. The most, my priority is to make the whole room laugh, so the difficult thing is that here you have people who are trying to learn English by watching a live show. So whatever you say, they're like, did I understand it? Then, oh, it's funny, then I can laugh. Sometimes you see two people explaining jokes to each other. Sometimes they got into a discussion. Oh no, that's not what you think. You know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, okay, sometimes they got into a heated discussion while you're telling jokes. I'm like, excuse me, what's so funny there? Like, oh, I thought your joke meant this. And he thought, no. And he is trying to explaining what your jokes means to me. I'm like, oh my God, I appreciate the passion, but hello, I am telling the jokes here. Yeah, so come back again. I would tell the same jokes, then you understand next time, So it's really funny, Some people take it really seriously. So in terms of that, I want to make the whole room laugh. And then you have aspects from everywhere, right? You see big Russian dudes sitting there unfolded, not laughing at all. I'm like, oh my God, please laugh. Everybody's laughing. But after the show, he comes to me like, this is funny. I'm like, why didn't you laugh? Like, I love the insight. So I want to bring the whole room together on the same page, make everybody laugh. Everybody is having a great time. That's my top priority. I don't care what can be talked about, what cannot be talked about. I'm talking about this, and I want everybody to laugh at this. You know what I'm saying? And there are also perks of doing comedy here. As a female stand-up comedian who is doing English stand-up comedy as her first language, people appreciate it. People applaud you. Especially the locals, they think, oh, you're giving a public speech and you're funny. You're making everybody laugh. That's a skill. That's rare, So I don't really have hecklers. I don't really have hecklers, you know. Sometimes I'm like, please heckle me. I want to practice, you know, dealing with hecklers, you know. And also the expats, they live here. They already have adopted the mindset that, you know, it's here. I'm here, you know. Let's see what they have that's funny, and they feel related about certain culture relevances as well because they've been here for some time. And you know, when culture differences, it's one of the biggest topics that people talk about. And then they get a chance to see the local culture as well, and they understand some local culture. So it's very inclusive, you know, in terms of that. And maybe they've seen comedy, better comedies, bigger comedians somewhere else, but they hear, they're like, oh, I'm appreciative there's comedy here already, you know. So that are the perks. It's really good. It's a very good experience. I'm very appreciative, and I'm very happy, very grateful for those expats and locals who have paved the way for me to do stand-up comedy. As I said in the previous episode, I started doing comedy 10 years after maybe the first open mic or first show here, you know. So it's still new, still young. People love it, you know, and we're trying to get more people. So if you travel to Shanghai, you know, come and watch us. Yeah. So anyways, long story short, there are perks of doing stand-up comedy here, and there are also its unique challenges here. Yeah. So see you next time.